Welcome. Today I'm going to make a knife block using some scrap wood I've got lying around. It's Meranti, it's about 5 centimetres wide and it's only 6 millimetres thick, so I'm going to have to laminate some pieces together to make the product. And the first step is going to be just to lay it out and get an idea what I'm aiming for. So that's the step you can see here. And this wood has several different colorations. So what I'm going to do is choose the pieces of timber that I don't like the appearance of and use those for the back section where it's not going to be seen. And then I'll choose the front piece based on the most attractive piece of timber I can find, because it's going to be highly visible on the wall. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So keeping small pieces of scrap around helps with this sort of project. These short pieces, about 10 centimetres, I'll be able to cut down to use at the ends, and that'll save me cutting into a long piece. And I'm not working to any plans here, so all I'm doing is cutting and marking to what appears attractive on the piece I'm working on at the time. I will sometimes have some rough drawings to give me a guide, but I'll rarely use accurate measurements unless the piece needs to fit a particular location. So now it's time for the glue up, and I did consider doing this in stages, just laminating the back pieces, then adding each other piece on one at a time to avoid the timber slipping during clamping. But I don't think it's really needed. I'm going to glue it all up in one piece, clamp it together, and then manipulate the pieces into place. And at the end, if there are some misalignments, I can just take a plane to it and smooth it out. With some projects, I want to take my time and do multiple steps over a long period of time and work on getting the piece as good a quality as I'm able to achieve with my skills at this time. However, there's also projects like this where I want to try and start and complete a piece within the period of time I'm working, just to get the sense that I've achieved something on that day. And this is quite a good, simple little project that doesn't take too long, and you end up with a pleasing result. So why do I call this one a scrap wood project? Well, these pieces of timber I bought in bulk at this size. So you could say that these are new pieces rather than scrap. However, they have come from a person who builds boats using this timber, and these are the offcuts from their project. So to that person, these were scrap pieces that they've sold on. And for me, I don't have the equipment to process large pieces of timber into small pieces like this, and it's easier for me, rather than buying a thickness planer and a decent table saw, to buy scrap pieces like this and use them in projects. Because I'm gluing this all together in one piece, the back piece, the lamination of two pieces of timber, I'm not going to be able to get the pressure on to keep those two together the way I'm doing it at the minute. So what I'm going to do, and you'll see in a second, is put some packing pieces in that gap. And these will help me clamp up that piece and put pressure on the lamination whilst not bending the front piece of timber or breaking it during the process. As you can see, I'm using a lot of clamps at this stage to put this in position for the glue up. I could have chosen a different option. I could have possibly got away with 2 or 3 clamps and used a board on each side. That probably could have worked, but all these clamps were to hand and I wasn't using them for anything else at the time, so I just took the simple approach and used lots of clamps. And it's always good to get a little bit of squeeze out of the glue when you're clamping, but you don't want too much, and if you can, remove the glue at this stage, because once it's set it can be difficult to remove. And it can also stain the pieces of wood. With this particular wood, it's a fairly open grain and the glue can get in there and be quite difficult to remove and require a lot of sanding. So here I'm removing the clamps and the packing pieces after about an hour of letting it sit. At this stage the glue is still slightly tacky but dried on the joints. This will do is allow me to scrape off some of the excess glue inside rather than waiting and it'll be fully set. Trying to get the glue off before it's fully set is very helpful in projects like this. And as I expected earlier, there is a bit of misalignment between the pieces of wood during the glue up, but it's not a difficult job just to pass a plane over it a few times and get a level surface. With a small block plane, I'm just putting a chamfer on the front edge. This helps with the appearance, but it also helps reduce the potential for that edge to get broken whilst it's in use. So at this point, my car's ready to pick up from the garage, so I'm rushing a little bit. And rather than getting the drill press out, which I have to set up on the table outside, I'm using a hand drill. So this doesn't give the best quality hole, but it's good enough and it'll be functional and it'll be invisible essentially once it's on the wall. But in preference, I would have liked to have got the drill press out and used that. And I'm going through my collection of screws and washers just to determine which ones I'm going to use. If I don't have the right ones, I may have to buy something, but I've got quite a large stock of odds and ends of screws and washers. So I should be able to find something that works. So at this stage it's essentially complete, but before I sand and do the finishing, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to make a mock-up wall, attach it, and just see how it's functioning, because if I need to make any changes, this is the time to do it, before the sanding and finishing. And because this is a prototype and it's not a design, it's not got plans, testing before you get to the final stage is a good idea. Well, there was no need to change anything. The dimensions worked perfectly. It fitted the knives I have well. The two pieces at the back were necessary to accommodate the thickness of the handle. The single piece at the front was a good design choice. I could have used two pieces at the front, but I think that would have been too heavy for the piece. So overall, pleased with how it's looking. So at this stage, it's just a case of sanding the piece up and putting some finish on it. And in this case, I think I'm going to use an oil-based food safe finish. They won't be finished between the rails, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm happy leaving the inside of this piece unfinished. And this is a new product to me. It's a hard wax oil. I've not used this before. I'm not sponsored by them. It's just something I'm trying out. I'm quite pleased with the way it's gone on, and the way it gave a kind of satin finish to the wood. I'll keep using it, and I'll let you know if I really like using this or if I have any problems with it in the future. Well, now the project's finished, I'm quite pleased with it. It looks good, functions well, and is better than the block I was using. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments if you would make any changes to this, what ideas you've got for similar projects. I'm happy to take ideas, try them out, and I'll be making more similar projects in the future. So please subscribe to see future projects.